For today's poetry, I wanted to go through Waldo Emerson's Song of Nature. Mine are the night and morning, the pits of air, the gulf of space, the sportive sun, the gibbous moon, the innumerable days. I hid in the solar glory. I am dumb in feeling song. I rest on the pitch of the torrent. In slumber, I am strong. No numbers have counted my tallies, no tribes my house can fill. I sit by the shining fount of life, and pour the deluge still. And ever delicate powers, gathering along the centuries, from race on race the rarest flowers, my wreath shall nothing miss. And many 1,000 summers, my apples ripened well, and light from meliorating stars with firmer glory fell. I wrote the past in characters of rock and fire, the scroll, the building in the coral sea, the planting of the coal, and thefts from satellites and rings, and broken stars I drew, and out of spent and aged things I formed the world anew. What time the gods kept carnival, tricked out in star and flower, and in cramped elf and saurian form, they swayed their too much power. Time and thought were my surveyors. They laid their courses well. They boiled the sea and baked the layers, or granite, marl, and shell. But he, the man-child glorious, where tarries he the while? The rainbow shines his harbinger, the sunset gleams his smile. My boreal lights leap upward, forthright my planets roll, and still the man-child is not born, the summit of the whole. Must time and tide forever run? Will never my winds go sleep in the west? Will never my wheels which whirl the sun and satellites have rest? Too much of dawning and doffing, too slow the rainbow fades. I weary of my robe of snow, my leaves and my cascades. I tire of globes and races, too long the game is played. What without him is summer's pomp, or winter's frozen shade? I travail in pain for him. My creatures travail and wait. His couriers come by squadrons. He comes not to the gate. Twice I have molded an image, and thrice I have stretched my hand, made one of day and one of night, and one of the salt sea sand. One in a Judean manger, and one by Avon stream. One over against the mouths of the Nile, and one in the Academe. I molded kings and saviors, and bards o'er kings to rule, but fell the starry influence short, the cup was never full. Yet whirl the glowing wheels once more, and mix the bowl again. Seed, fate, ancient elements, heat, cold, wet, dry, and peace and pain. Let war and trade and creeds and song blend, ripen race on race. The sunburnt world a man shall breed, of all the zones and countless days. No ray is dimmed, no atom worn. My oldest force is good as new, and the fresh rose on yonder thorn gives back the bending heavens in dew. And wow, that was quite a long poem from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I have a lot of his other poems are my favorites. And for this one, this is just my personal interpretation on it, but I believe what Emerson is talking about here is that he's kind of referring to how the world changes, right? So he goes through things like delicate powers, gathering the centuries. So it's like a steady progression, right? It's a steady progression of kind of like the cycles of of our lives, right? So mine are the mine are the night and morning, the sportive sun, the gibbous moon, right? So it goes sun, moon, and there's like countless days, right? Countless cycles that occur, and then of course he goes through all the uh, all the ways the world changes, right? All the ways the world changes through time and thought, right? Time and thought were my surveyors, and pretty much at the end, one's going through like all these mythical references, right? So like the manger, right? Judean manger, that's about uh, Jesus Christ, I'm guessing. And he goes through stuff about bards and kings, right? Kings and saviors. So once he goes through all these stories, right? How our stories have changed over time, right? How the story of humanity has changed over time. At the very end, right? He talks about no ray is dimmed, no atom worn. My oldest force is good as new. So even though, right, countless time, right, in immeasurable time has passed, right, uh, since humans have told stories about the world, stories dating before even ancient Egypt, right, even before the Book of Gilgamesh, right, way before, right, 10,000, 100,000, who knows how, right, since time immemorial, right, humans have told each other stories, and I think what he's referring to is how these stories still hold an impact over people, right? We're like telling countless stories, right? Repeating it, revising it, improvising it, right? So we're changing these stories all the time, but the oldest stories is as good as new, right? So the oldest mythologies, right, that we have, from different cultures, that's as good as new. It's like kind of talking about how there's cycles to history. That reminds me of a quote, right? That history repeats itself, and the counter to it, not really a counter, but history doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. I forget who said that.